Oh, all right. Well, that second half went about as planned. I think that's the way that you could put it. Tennessee 56, Vanderbilt 0, and the Tennessee Volunteers wrap up their season at 10-2, double-digit wins in the regular season for the first time since 2003. Yeah. So a phenomenal year. I believe that they showed the stat at the end of that game. The third Tennessee coach in the last 60 years to win 10 games or more in their first 2 years. I believe Heupel is one. Fulmer is another. And I'd have to check who the third one is.
I'd have to look.
Majors didn't win 10 games.
Yeah, I'd have to look. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, but regardless, they had that stat at the end of the game. And that is where we sit right now. 56-0 Tennessee. I am Charlie Burris of A to Z Sports. That is Jonathan Crompton of Tennessee football. And I just noticed I made the wrong graphic. It says Lucas Panzica under your name right there.
Oh, I didn't even pay attention.
I sat down and I made this entire graphic with the wrong name there and never noticed it once. I had the old graphic on my phone. Maybe I can change this, but we'll get there. All right, Charlie Burris. That's actually Jonathan Crompton, quarterback of Tennessee. It is on Lucas Panzica. That's ridiculous. We'll get this corrected. But I got to tell you about our great sponsors before we get into this. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Farm Bureau Health Plans is a corporate sponsor of the Vols. They've been serving Tennesseans for 75 years. Plan on them for health, dental, and vision. FBHP.com/ATOZ. Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com. Type in promo code BALLS, BOLS, to check out to fill your freezer with enough gourmet food to keep your cookouts going strong into the fall. And Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey, which is right here behind me. And we'll have to have our final, at least of the regular season, our final whiskey for the win during this show. Make your own luck, just like Tennessee's fast-paced Rattle and Snap offense with Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey. All right, Crump, quick take. 56-0. It kind of speaks for itself. But what did you see in that second half?
Boring. You know what I mean? I mean, at least we did what I said we needed to do to come out in the second half and run the ball. We ran for the ball for 300 yards in the second half. I'm not mad at that at all. But, yeah, I mean, it just playing Vanderbilt in a rain game, and, yeah, we did what we got to do. It just – like I said, it was a very – it's great to get a win. It's great to end the season 10-2. It's just a very boring, blah type of game. Weather kind of played into that, and having a lot of starters out, like we talked about at halftime. But very good way to end the regular season, that's for sure. Especially on the defensive side, getting a goose egg there, that definitely makes you feel good going into bowl prep. Wait until next week to see where we're going to be headed. Especially with LSU losing today, it definitely looks like Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl type game for us.
Yep.
So that's a very good positive to go ahead and be in a New Year's Six bowl. So getting a shutout right before that is a good way to go out.
Absolutely. And to kind of get into that, so Texas A&M, I said this to Zach Reagan and Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports, for the folks that follow us closely. I said this to them this week. It just felt to me like that Texas A&M game was a little trappy for LSU. They walked in and they laid a big old egg. They got beat by double digits, I believe. And So LSU, that's going to put them behind Tennessee. That's a terrible loss. That's only Texas A&M's fourth win of the entire season.
No, fifth.
What was their fifth? Okay, sorry. Yeah, so they had 4 coming in. That's their 5th win. Texas A&M's not even going to make a bowl game, even with that win. So horrific stuff. LSU lays a giant egg there. So Tennessee hops them. Oregon loses. USC is going to beat Notre Dame. At least it looks, I don't think it's over, but they're up by a bunch.
Yeah.
Ohio State loses. You won't hop Ohio State. But the one that I think we could talk about after we talk about the Vanderbilt game, Alabama. How is Tennessee still behind Alabama? You just beat Vanderbilt by 60 points. I mean,
their 2 losses are combined 4 points, and we had a bad loss to South Carolina. That's the answer.
But
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who beat who. It does not matter. We had a bad, atrocious loss to South Carolina, and both losses are combined 4 points, both on the road.
But one of those losses,
doesn't matter.
Tennessee?
It doesn't matter.
Tennessee.
It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter.
Does that hold water, though?
It literally, it does not matter. 4 points, 30 points or whatever, or 28 points or whatever our loss was. It doesn't matter. It sucks, but that's just the reality of it.
Well, regardless, at the latter half of this show, we're going to talk about all of that and the bowl projections and everything. Where we go from here, you already mentioned it, orange sugar potentially, depending on what happens. It also sort of hinges on next week too. But in this game, I think what people are going to want to hear from you, Cromp, not Lucas Penzique. I got it on my phone. I'm working on it. We'll change it before this show ends. But Joe Milton in this game, he ultimately in that second half, Tennessee just runs all over Vandy, ended up running for 362 yards in that game, passed for 151. They just went away from anything that was really involving Milton passing the ball. What you saw there, again, is this the most relevant topic to talk about after this game? Maybe not, but I think this is what people are going to want to hear from you, a former quarterback at the University of Tennessee. Joe Milton, starter next year. What'd you see? Is he the starter next year?
Tonight was not the night to sit here and try to judge anybody. You could even hear him say on a couple of D-balls, when the wind's blowing your right to left or your left to right in your face or behind you, it affects your ball. And also now you're playing in the rain against a lesser opponent and you know you're going to run the ball. Tonight's not a night to technically sit here and say, we need to judge a kid for next year because of that. Did he play efficient? Yes. Were there some balls you would really like to have back? Yes. I would say the one most to me would be on the second drive of the third quarter, the one to Fant down the middle. That one I really wish you had that back because now we're going, hey, we're 151. Now we throw it for over 200, couple touchdowns, right? Feeling a lot better about it from the quarterback standpoint. Not that we feel bad about it because we didn't need – honestly, tonight it didn't matter who was back there playing. We were going to run for almost 400 yards regardless. So that would be kind of my take on it is he did what he was supposed to do. He made the right reads when he needed to make them. The thing that I thought was the most impressive was not forcing the ball downfield, right? In the sense of you saw the ones that he either threw the ball away, like blatantly just threw it over our guys' heads out of bounds because it was blanketed coverage, or checked it down to our flat route after we're trying to kind of screw with them and take a shot down the field. Those were the things that you really like to see out of a guy that's supposed to be your starter. So the overthrows or the miscues downfield can be corrected in a good weather game because if you look at his numbers from all year long, I know it's a mop-up duty, but it's still you got to throw and catch. 89% on balls over 25-plus yards until tonight. That tells me that it's starting to really get corrected. The thing you got to be very sure of and what Hooker was really good at was checking the ball down when needed. And that's what Milton did well tonight.
Well, and he threw a great little touchdown pass there that was a mid-range throw, and he actually didn't just rocket it in there.
Yeah. Well, in the third play of the game would have been a touchdown in non-rain weather because we don't slip. So I think the weather had to play in it, but he played efficient. He did. And
so here I got us fixed. There's Jonathan Crompton now and Charlie. So graphic fixed. Now, with that take on Milton, is there anything else in this game before we move on to, again, the sort of latter half conversation about bowls and yada, yada, yada? Anything else out of that game that stuck out to you where you go, something about the bowl game potentially? Obviously Milton is going to be your quarterback in that bowl game.
Yes. Well, the thing that I did like so far tonight, I'm looking at the numbers. Once again, I got to preface it. I know weather had a play in it, but it's still nice when you're 130th ranked pass defense in the country to hold a team to 107 yards passing. Well, I know, I just said it about the weather for us, but it still makes the defense feel good going to a bowl game, only giving up 107 yards passing. from previously a lot.
Yes.
So that, you kind of pick and choose how you want to feel about games like this. And I know I'm picking and choosing here, trying to make our defense kind of feel good about it. But, what is it, 11 of 17 for Swan and 7 of 13 for Wright. We know they only average 194 yards a game passing. They don't throw the ball very well. But it's still nice to hold them under their average with a defensive secondary that was depleted tonight and just not very good at the pass defense in general.
I think you saw those guys play with some pride. Like they got so comprehensively embarrassed last week that I think specifically you look to a guy like a Jalen McCullough, who's a senior leader and a captain on the team. You look at him and like his ego has to be damaged coming into this game. I mean, you gave up 60 whatever points to South Carolina last week. Yeah, they beat Clemson this week, but even still, they scored 31 against Clemson. They doubled that and more against you. Like your pride is damaged. And they came in and they played a very solid game. And the defensive line did too. There were actually a couple of coverage sacks. I mean, they really did a good job and played with pride. And it was awesome to see that because I think in this bowl game, now that you sort of, the other games have unfolded, and I think you've played yourself into an orange sugar type of situation, depending on how everything shakes out. You're going to play a good team. You're going to play a good team in this bowl game. And so that defense is going to have, I mean, unless it's Clemson, good Lord, their offense was absolutely.
I would love that matchup because Clemson's offense is horrible. Hey, Shipley. Hey, I like Shipley at tailback, though. They can run the ball.
He's good.
By God, that matches up well for us, run defense versus run offense, because they cannot throw the ball.
Yeah.
I would love that matchup for us. I'm serious.
Uyangalele was abysmal today. They were terrible.
I would love that matchup, honestly.
Yeah. So I'm pretty interested to see how that goes. Again, that's going to be kind of our topic to wrap up the show. But, all things considered, this game went well. You blasted Vandy and wiped them off the face of the earth, and a team that was really coming in with something to play for. I think that can be this.
Vandy had a bowl game on the line.
Yeah, and after beating Florida and Kentucky,
first 3-game win streak in the SEC since like 2013 was on the line. So I mean, they came in wanting to play well, and we laid it too early. So
I mean, it was an impressive performance, and think about whatever Vandy did tonight that you want to, but 56-0, it speaks for itself. Somebody pointed out in the comments, I think I saw, or maybe somebody texted it to me, but here it is right here. A friend of mine texted it to me. They said Bama only beat Vandy 55-3, so clearly our win is better than Bama's win over. We're confident. So, from there, let's get to this. 160 people watching right now. We thank you so much. It's late, and we appreciate you tuning in. One word for how you are feeling right now. Go over to the comments, drop that into the comments, and tell us just one word about how you are feeling. Tennessee 10-2, Vanderbilt vanquished 56-0, an absolute demolishing blowout. And now you move on to, with everything that shook out today, an Orange Bowl, a Sugar Bowl, a New Year's Six. I mean, you played yourself to New Year's Six. I think that's basically
it's just going to be what happens next week. But there's
So now, just one word for how you're feeling, and this segment is going to be brought to us by the great folks at Farm Bureau Health Plans, and I got to tell you about them quickly. Your Farm Bureau Health Plans, they've been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years. Much has changed in Tennessee over the years, but some has stayed the same. Farm Bureau has always valued relationships, especially when it comes to good health and good service. Plan on Farm Bureau Health Plans for health, dental, and vision for better coverage, better rates, and better service. Go to fbhp.com/ATOZ or walk into one of their 200 locations across the state. That is fbhp.com/ATOZ. That is AZFBHP. Farm Bureau Health Plans. And again, just pop into the comments here to everybody that's watching and give us your one word for how you're feeling currently about Tennessee at 10-2, 56-0 over Vandy. And Crompton and I will give ours too. Let's see what folks are saying. Server
There's a
says
lot of really good comments.
The what?
There's a lot of really good comments.
Yeah, these are great because I think the mood, especially since last week, the mood has gotten better, which is nice. Server says amazing. Preston says optimistic. Pat says proud. Elias says reassured. Chad says great. Tim says anticlimactic. Yeah, I gotta feel that. It was a 12-week guy. Yeah, Jeremiah, confident. Mr. Jones says future. Eric, accomplished. Chad, pride. Philip, incredible. I will throw it to you, Cromp. Your one word for how you're feeling right now.
It may be two, but I'm making it one. Track meet.
Okay.
Because that's what I wanted to see in the second half.
Yeah,
it was. We came out with back-to-back 50-yard touchdown runs. I was like, yes. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That's what I wanted to see. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna make it one word and go track meet.
There's a lot of words that I could choose here. I'll read a few more. Sean says Banks. Chad says ruthless. I like that one.
There we go.
It was ruthless. 56-0 is great. Mike says unsatisfied. I agree with this one too. The mission is not accomplished yet. Chad says sugar. Server pops back in and he says GBO. Agreed. Go Big Orange. Chad Hagen.
That's what I was laughing at earlier.
Chad says poor Dash Vandy.
It's one word. It's one word.
It is. Hey, he beat us on a technicality there. Like I said, I think there's a lot of words to choose here, but I have to go. I'm trying to think of what would be the best one, but it's some version of astonished. Because, last week we were not feeling the, hey, you're going 10-2 talk. We weren't in the mood. But this week you've accomplished it. You accomplished it and you blasted Vandy out of their own stadium, 56-0. And I am just so proud. There's a number of words here. Proud, excited for the future. That's another one. There's a lot of words here that I could drop in. Excited for the future. Just ecstatic because there's some stats out there like every current coach who has won a national championship won 9 games or more in their second year in the regular season. Well, Josh Heupel just won 10. So you're right there and things like that. So just proud might be the best one. But honestly, just credit where it's due all the way around. 10-2, the best season. We already said it, best season since 2003. And pats on the back all the way around. Yes, that loss to South Carolina was extremely ugly, but you are here now. You are here at 10-2. You have finished that. And yeah, the season is not over and you have a shot at 11 games, but just the fact that you've reached this point is incredible. So accolades all the way around. What more can you say? And I'll say this for you, Crump. Last week, you got I don't think that you even looked probably after the fact at comments and stuff on our videos. No. Folks flamed you a little bit on the video last week. They weren't feeling that 10-2 talk. They just weren't. They were just like, stop. That's not what we want to hear right now.
Hear and see the concern.
Yes. But this week, you have done it. It is accomplished. And I think rightfully so. People were a little nervous coming into this game. Vandy coming off of a win over Florida, a win over Kentucky, and all of this momentum that they were building up. And Tennessee just stepped on their neck. And it's an accomplishment that I was very just relieved to you have it out of the way and it's done. And here we are. So congratulations all the way around to Josh Heupel, the staff, and this team. 10-2. Yes, that loss was ugly, but this season is incredible. And I think South Carolina beating Clemson today took a little bit of the sting off of
Yeah,
that.
but man, here's the thing. This is the bottom line. But people got to understand, and not to rehash the past. As a coach and a player, is anybody involved in programs, when you have a loss like that, you probably don't even go back. Most of the time, you don't watch the film. You say, man, it was so atrocious. We're moving on. So when Charlie, for you, for instance, when you try to get all riled up, I don't really care. I'm going to talk you off the ledge, or I'm just going to tell you how it is. For everybody watching, I appreciate the comments, but the reality is, until you've been on that side, you can sit here and say what you want, but 95% of the time, you're not right. And I'm not meaning that in a douchebag way. I swear to God, I'm not. I'm just saying from the side of being in the building. Hey, listen, man, I know, trust me, people spend their hard-earned money, and I get it. Hell, I'm one of them nowadays, right? To watch these games, whether you go in person or with cable or satellite or, you know what I mean, whatever it is. If somebody wants to watch an HBO pay-per-view boxing match, whatever, that is your hard-earned money. I'm with you. You're allowed to feel the way you want to feel. I will never disagree with that, right? But, and that is a big but, the stuff last week about, fire this and fire that, and as I got on to you about take the names off the jersey, you'll never win that argument with me because it's wrong. Like, it's wrong. Because the reality is they know they played like garbage, and I said that word last week, so I'm going to use it again this week, right? The positive of this program is seeing how they reacted this week. You know what I mean? So that's what I was trying to say last week is, guys, we played. There's nothing to talk about. We played like absolute trash. Let's move on to Vandy, because that's the mentality that good teams have, and we're a good team now. Right?
Yeah, they clearly brought that tonight.
You see what I'm getting at? So that's what I want to reiterate about last week is like, yes, could we have been in the playoffs? Yes. Will we be? No. Right? And we just won't be. If we would have won last week, there's a really, really, really good chance. But we'll never know. So let's not dwell on it. Let's not keep rehashing it. Let's literally like the team did. Swallow the pride, suck it up, move on to next week, go beat the hell out of the next team. That's what we did. And that's what I kept trying to say last week was we played like garbage. There's nothing else you can say. Just move on. Because that's what good teams do. If you notice, we don't want to be Alabama fans. Alabama fans gripe and moan about every little bitty thing all the time. And it's so annoying because that's what Alabama does. Right? They expect this and this. We're back to where we need to be. Now we just got to continue doing what we're doing. Like you said, every coach that has won a national championship has won 9 or more games in his second year. Well, we've done that now. Right? So we're on that right track. It just sucks we're not going to get in, but that's just part of it. We're going to make a New Year's Six bowl unless something crazy happens, but I still think we will. And hopefully it's in a good weathered place. You want good weather. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's me, I would rather sugar than orange because you're guaranteed good weather. Because you're in a dome.
Yeah, you'd be playing in a dome.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so God forbid it just decides to rain in Miami. Like, I would rather the Sugar Bowl, but that's just a preference.
There's two conversations that have to be had. I think a couple of people have mentioned it in the comments. You do sort of have that thought that I think Tennessee fans in perpetuity forever will have about this season's what happened against South Carolina. Like what they that wasn't the same team that showed up that week. But then you also have that other conversation 10-2 in the second year.
It goes back to the conversation that I said at halftime. I really want to know why Banks didn't go, but we're never going to know.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
So, and I'm with you. It sucks. But the positive is we're 10-2. There's I would say a 95%, because there's always a random percentage that we don't go, but I would say 95% chance that we're in a New Year's Six. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't know what actually could happen next week to keep us out of it. But I think LSU losing today helped us, is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely.
Because we technically jumped them in every category.
Yeah, and in Oregon too, you're basically assured 7th and then maybe 6th. depending on how the committee is feeling. But before we get into the stat of the game and then wrap up with the talk about the bowl game and everything like that. Hendon Hooker obviously doesn't finish the season, but I'll ask you this. So he finishes with Heisman level-ish numbers. Do you think he's going to go to the finalist presentation and all of that stuff? Because Stroud played bad today. Stroud just blew that game right at the end. He played terrible to wrap up that game. Had a decent game and then blew it at the end and had a turnover and all this stuff. And then I think Caleb Williams is basically wrapping it up in a bow right now for USC.
Yeah, I think if it's me, he deserves to be there. I mean, just look at the numbers. He deserves to be there. I think CJ Stroud today was his chance to win it. But I agree with you. I think Caleb Williams pretty much is solidifying that he's going to win it, which is upsetting because if Hendon gets to play, even if we don't win last week, but he finishes the game with some good numbers, right, not getting hurt, and then comes in tonight and plays really well, then he would have a legit chance at winning it. Which sucks for him, but I think he deserves to at least be at the ceremony. But I do not know what their criteria is. But I think to me, he finishes second. If I'm getting a vote, I would go him second, CJ Stroud third.
I think I would. And I mean, you look at this game tonight and just the overthrows that Milton had. I think it's even more of a beatdown if Hooker plays 60-something to 0 in this one, if not more. 70-something to 0 maybe if Hooker plays. And like that has to be considered. Like that is the season that he had. You can't just discount he got injured and he's not going to be able to play. Well, that doesn't matter. What kind of season did he have? Was he one of the best players in America this season? I think he was. He should make up. We'll have to just see how they feel and kind of go from there. But it's a little bit of a consolation prize, but I think that it's one that would be extremely meaningful, if nothing else, visually for Tennessee football, with recruiting and everything and the things that you want to win right now. You have the 10-2 season, and obviously that's a giant selling point. But if you have the visual of your quarterback making it to that Heisman stage, that's priceless.
It doesn't hurt recruiting.
Exactly.
And not just for the quarterback position, though. Offensively, it doesn't hurt in any position.
No. And you even look tonight, I mean, total, Tennessee put up 513 yards of offense with Joe Milton at quarterback, primarily on the ground. But, I mean, you will likely finish the regular season as the number one offense in scoring and in yards per game. Yeah. That's a huge selling point.
If not one, it'll be number 2, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be 1.
At worst, it's number 2. You do not slip past number 2. I think it'll be number 1 in both categories. Likely.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, the selling points of all of those things, I don't think that you can say enough about it, frankly. Like, it just is really crazy. And if you can get the defensive line in here, and Elias Gray says it here, you got David Hobbs on Friday, who's a 5-star defensive lineman. And he says the D-line recruiting, wow, yeah, you get these dudes in here and you add a good defense along with this offense. I mean, good luck to everybody else in college football.
It's definitely going to be fun. We just got to make sure just like every team every year, especially in the SEC or the Big Ten, you got to make sure you win the games you're supposed to win.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's just, we all know that the SEC and Big Ten, Jeff's not here, or at least he is. I haven't seen him comment. We all know that at this point in time, the SEC top to bottom is tougher than the Big Ten top to bottom, which makes the lean that way. Michigan, kudos to them today because they beat the hell out of Ohio State. But who's Michigan played all year? They played Hawaii. They played UConn, right? You see what I'm saying? Like they played Penn State and Ohio State the whole year.
Yes.
And that hurts us in the long run.
If only Tennessee could have a schedule like that.
I'm saying you get to play the best teams week in, week out.
Yeah.
But if you don't win the games you're supposed to win, hence last week, it hurts you in the long run.
Yeah, we'll see if that logic actually holds up. But we do have to get to our final sponsor segment of the show, which is our stat of the game, brought to you by Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey, which is right here behind me on the shelf. Let me get their graphic up, and I guess I'll show you the bottle also. But there's no better time than now to celebrate a 10-2 season for Tennessee. I mean, what a time to be alive. The Tennessee Volunteers went 10-2 this season, and what better to celebrate that than this right here? An 8-year Tennessee whiskey from Log Still Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. Actually, it's a Kentucky-based company, but a Tennessee whiskey, Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey, an 8-year juice. Is that I've seen? That's what the real enthusiasts are calling it. So Rattle and Snap whiskey is a new line of Tennessee whiskey from Log Still Distillery. Rattle and Snap is named after a long-forgotten game of chance. Rattle and Snap is a whiskey for those who make their own luck. Follow them on Instagram at Rattle and Snap Whiskey. And you can find their bottle, this one right here, and a 4-year bottle also. They have an 8-year and a 4-year. You can find them at liquor stores in Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, and Mississippi. Go look for them. Here's what we're going to do, Cromp. You might not be in the mood. I don't know. Are you taking a drink right now?
Honestly, it's over there. I completely forgot it. I'm not even going to lie about it.
But here's what we can do.
I need you to take one for me.
I'll take a drink for the both of us. This was, again, Crompton's tagline here. He came up with this, but whiskey for the win. I also forgot my glass. So here's what we're going to do straight out of the bottle. Let's go. 56-0, 10-2, folks.
Nice. I like it.
Rattle and Snap. Tennessee whiskey. 8-year-old beautiful bottle of whiskey. Go and grab you that if you stay mentioned there. So, your stat of the game, Cromp, I'll throw it to you. If you're looking at that stat sheet, what pops out to you? What was the most meaningful thing that you saw, if you have?
Honestly, like I said at halftime, the rushing yards, 362 yards rushing. That was because we only had what did we have at halftime? I'm drawing a blank.
Not enough.
It was like what? Legitimately, wasn't it like 60-something yards rushing at halftime?
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean? Not a lot, but and then you come out and we go, oh, 50. Oh, crap. Oh, 50. Oh, 83. Oh, 80. I'm like, okay, there we go. Like that's my stat of the game, because when we run the ball very effective, we are very hard to beat.
Yeah. It's really the backbreaker for this offense where they
It is. It really is.
You mentioned it all season long when this team goes over 150 yards a game.
Yeah.
It's almost, and they actually did this against South Carolina, I believe, last week and ended up losing that game. But regardless, when they went over 150 yards a game, they were undefeated this season outside of that South Carolina game, I think, unfortunately.
Somebody put on here, have a shot for Big Ten Jeff.
That's what I was literally about to do this. So Big Ten Jeff, our stalwart viewer, he's a super nice guy, and he drops into the comments, but he's a giant Ohio State fan. And
I love Jeff.
Yes, he's it's all in good fun. But Jeff has decided to take the night off. I don't know why. I wonder why. He decided to take this one away. This one
it might have been the Ohio State secondary that didn't show up. He always rags on our secondary. Well, where were they today? 45 points?
I mean.
Well, I'll just say this. 45 points, and the quarterback only threw for 50% completion percentage.
And Blake Corum didn't play, who was a Heisman candidate running back for them.
That's not good for Ohio State. Like, to think of that. Like, 50. Now, Michigan. One of my dad's good buddies is a huge Michigan guy. And I told him, I said, man, listen, one, kudos for them winning. But two, if you want to win the whole thing, your quarterback's got to throw for better than 50% completion percentage in big games. You've only played 2 decent teams all year.
Yeah.
You've got to throw for more than 50% because that just tells you that you stay on the field on third down.
I watched that game and I walked away saying, like, their defense is excellent. I believe it is the number one defense in America.
Yes.
Statistically. But I also walked away saying, if they play Georgia, they're going to score 6 points at most.
Well, and especially depending on how Corum is. And you're wrong. That McCarthy, like, I think he's a good player. That's just the system that Harbaugh runs. Look at what he did with Stanford and San Francisco, right? That's just what he does. It is a very tight end heavy, where run heavy first, so it takes the ball out of your hands. So sometimes you don't get comfortable.
Yeah.
And at one point, it was funny. At one point, he was, I sent the stat to him. It was like 5 of 12, but for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Weirdly efficient.
So that's all I was getting at. I was telling him, guys, if Michigan wants to win the whole thing, you got to throw for a higher completion percentage, because that tells you you're staying on the field on third down and keeping your defense off the field.
Yeah.
And that's just Ohio State. They played like crap today. Outside of the first drive of the game, they played like crap. It's just what it is.
It's what it is. Yeah. Here, we'll start this conversation here. So Ohio State, I mean, they're going to be a lurker on the playoff. Michigan, obviously weird stuff could happen, but I think they're going to end up playing Purdue.
I think it's Purdue. I'm 99% sure it's Purdue.
Okay. I mean, they better.
Because it was the thing is, like, if Purdue won, they were in. And then there were like 3 other scenarios that if they didn't win could happen.
And Purdue played Minnesota today.
No, Wisconsin played Minnesota, and that was a crazy
sorry.
ending.
Okay.
That was
okay,
a crazy
sorry.
ending.
Yeah.
Purdue played Indiana. There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Yes. Okay. And people in the comments are saying
them, so it should be Purdue. But what we can say is, to me, and I could be wrong, Georgia and Michigan are in regardless.
Yeah.
If they both lose, they go from 1-2 to 3-4. That's just my opinion. All the scenarios that we can throw out here in just a minute are all null and void if Southern Cal wins next week and TCU win. If TCU and Southern Cal win, you already have your 4, no matter what. Ohio State, Bama, whoever else technically would be ranked 5-6 have no chance.
And I think I'm not sure who is now assured in the Pac-12 championship against USC. It's going to be USC and somebody. The outcome of USC's game tonight did not matter for the Pac-12 championship. It mattered for the playoff rankings because they played Notre Dame, obviously not in the Pac-12.
It's only going to help USC's resume if they play some sort of decently ranked team. Because I do not know the Pac-12 North rankings off the top of my head.
I think this Washington State game might
Does it have implications?
I think it decides who would play, and I think it's between Washington and Utah, maybe. Again, yeah, folks in the comments might have to confirm that for us.
I'm not a Pac-12 guy, so I got no idea.
I haven't kept super close tabs on it.
No.
But
that's, regardless, if USC wins and TCU wins, conversation is completely null and void.
Yes, you're then jockeying for position in the Sugar Bowl, the Orange Bowl.
But there's a website. I'm going to throw this out there real quick. This is stupidly interesting, okay? It's a live prediction website, okay?
Okay.
So you can click on the teams, blah, blah, blah. So here's the scenario that I have typed in, and everybody's going to laugh at this. And because when I did it, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Okay. If Michigan wins next week, Georgia wins, and TCU loses. Okay. USC loses. And that means Kansas State has won the Big 12. This website gives Kansas State at a 3-loss a 53% chance of making it. And I was like, what the hell? Like, where did that come from? And because it pops up, whatever algorithm it uses, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, are you Are you kidding me? So if Kansas State wins the Big 12 and USC doesn't, they're giving Kansas State a flip a coin chance of getting in, which makes zero sense to me. I don't know if the committee would do that, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the human element of that is obviously the rogue thing that you can't really account for, because it's not the BCS, it's not a computer telling you who's in, who's out.
I don't know this algorithm, but it goes off. So they actually have it in real time. It updates. They've got the top 4 right now. They're saying is Michigan, Georgia, TCU. They're saying Michigan jumps Georgia this week. And then, hold on,
Maybe.
Hear me out. You're about to laugh. So they've got it: Michigan, Georgia, TCU, Ohio State, USC. Hold on, USC. Now this is before LSU lost, though. We'll just say this.
Okay.
LSU, Kansas State, Alabama, Clemson, Tennessee. Yep. Same face.
Obviously Clemson.
I was like, what? No,
Clemson
that was with
is
Clemson's
ejected.
loss today. That was with Clemson's loss on there today at 10-2.
Really?
Yes.
Mm.
I was stupidly surprised. I was like, wait, hold on. Where the hell did Kansas State come from?
Yeah, I think with the human element of the
Somebody just asked me this site I was looking at. It is called 538.
well, that's Nate Silver is.
No, I don't know the algorithm they use. It's a pretty cool deal because you can just click and you've clicked way too many buttons when it tells you that scenario has a under 0.25% chance. Click new buttons. Had that a few times. You know what I mean? But I'm wondering like where Kansas State is coming from. And it literally right now, obviously LSU is going to drop. We get it because this was right before their loss tonight. They're going to drop. But that means that if they drop, then they have technically Kansas State being up to 6. Which at 3, Kansas State being up to 6. I don't agree with that.
I'll drop in here and I'll say, so from here, let's just assume Tennessee, there's no shot at the playoff.
There's not.
It just
There's not.
would be the miracle of miracles. I hate that.
And here's why there's not. We will not jump Alabama, and Alabama doesn't play another game.
Exactly.
That's the reason why like there's no shot.
This is where I'm going. Okay. So let's compare here a little bit. Tennessee beats Alabama. Beats them straight up. 52-49. Then you do lose to South Carolina by 25. It's horrific, but it happened. Then South Carolina goes and they beat Clemson at Clemson, and you kind of go like, okay, well, maybe South Carolina is a little bit better than we thought, even though they got destroyed by Florida, yada, yada. We know what happened. Alabama goes and they finish out with a loss to LSU on a 2-point conversion, a 1-point loss, 3-point loss to Tennessee. So a total of 4 points that they lose by this season. And what I think is funny is that Tennessee, again, a win over Alabama.
But that doesn't matter. You got to take that out of consideration.
But the assumption, again, you're saying it, the assumption is purely that Alabama is ahead of Tennessee.
Well, no, it is. They've been ranked ahead of us since we lost.
They have.
We're not going to jump them. But here's the reason why. 4 total points, both on the road. 25 points to South Carolina, and what was it to Georgia? 14?
Yep.
Something like that. So 39 points versus 4. Both losses for Alabama were top 6 teams. Ours was an unranked 25-point loss. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter what they will. It doesn't matter the head-to-head at that point.
Tennessee
Unranked
52,
loss.
Alabama 49.
But Charlie, you got to take the fan perspective out of it here. Truly, I'm with you, but you got to take when you're talking about the rankings, you got to take your fan perspective out of it and understand they're going. Yes, does the South Carolina beating Clemson look better for us? Kind of, but Clemson. What have we said about their offense this whole time? Atrocious, right?
It's terrible.
1-point loss. 25 versus 1. All I'm getting at is it last week killed it all. And that's why I didn't have any other words besides garbage last week. Because it was 25 points and they were unranked. That's why, because Alabama's 2 losses were to top 6 teams. Okay? So top 6 versus unranked, 4 total points, 39 points.
But
that is the point blank reason why.
But counterpoint. This is purely judging from history in the college football playoff. The college football playoff committee has sort of scoffed at good losses. They really kind of go like, no. Good losses are not a thing. A loss is a loss is a loss is a loss. Historically. Obviously, this season, in my personal opinion, has been a perfect example as to why the playoff needs to be expanded. You have
to.
Yeah. You have one great team in Georgia, and even Georgia kind of laid a stinker against Georgia Tech today. But you have one great team in Georgia, and then a ton of teams that are just sort of jockeying for second place. And I think every team from 2 to 12 could beat each other. I think I say that with total confidence. And so they don't really play that like quality losses game. So Tuesday is going to be interesting.
They do it year to year. It just depends on the scenario year to year, but they do. It's just the fact of what they don't weigh on as much, and especially at the Division II level and the FCS level, is conference championships.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that is different for Division I is there's a committee. But the reality is, sorry, I'm going to turn off my TV. The reality of it is unranked, giving up the most points we've given up since like 1890 something or whatever. And we lost by 25 points. Yes, head-to-heads matter when you're going for who's going to play in Atlanta. Head-to-heads matter when you're going to go, hey, both teams played 12 games, and it's a number 3 and 4 spot open, and they're both ranked 3 and 4. Who's going to get 3? Who's going to get 4? But to get ranked number 7 versus number 8, they're not going to look at head-to-head. They're going to go, well, they got that ass kicked last week. No way of saying it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how it's typically done. And for those things, we got to take out, just like Ohio State. Ohio State is in a position they don't control their own destiny now. So they got to take their fandom out of play and go, we got to root for certain teams that we don't normally root for next week. It's the only way they have a chance. Yeah. That's the part about why we're on the same page. They need to expand. The 4 teams is atrocious.
It's a real shame this year.
Good teams that these bowl games, and we're one of those teams now that going, we're in a New Year's Six bowl, which is the old BCS, right?
Yeah,
BCS bowl games, and everybody's going, I mean, it's just a New Year's Six, which is something. It's not to stub your nose at, but that's what everybody kind of does now.
I mean,
like every team, and I don't agree with that because that's not right to the teams that have worked so hard to get there. That's why we got to expand. We have to. We need to sooner than later.
I'm very much with Diane and Mike here. Diane says, Alabama, Bama. That's why. And then Mike says, if a win doesn't matter, why play the games? And then it's really this last sentence where he says, you're right, because that's how it is. But understanding it doesn't make it any less foolish. That's exactly how I feel. You're right.
I'm not going to disagree with that. It sucks. It sucks is what it is.
Yes. Why did we beat Alabama and play that game and beat them 52-49 if that's not going to count for anything? Why? Because we both have 2 losses.
I'm with you.
Why did we play that game if it doesn't count for anything?
But it's also very good. So I have this argument with my dad's buddy all the time. And he's always like, oh, well, Tennessee lost to blah, 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 or whatever. Or has only played X amount of ranked teams. And I'm like, no, we've played like 6 or 7 or whatever. No, it's only 3. Well, how? Well, they're only ranked now. I'm like, dude, you got to go with the time that what you ranked when they're playing, because with that logic, because it's always like, oh, well, it's at the end of the year. What are they ranked? If that logic, then the number 1 team in the country, you never beat the number 1 team because they weren't ranked number 1 at the end of the year if they lost.
Yeah.
And he always comes back with, well, Well, there's no well. So you got to go with the logic of you played them at the time. That's what sucks about the South Carolina loss for us is they were unranked. Now, when you look the next week, you go, hey, that maybe, unfortunately, maybe our defense sparked something in them. Like, I have to laugh about it. That's how bad it was, right?
Yeah.
And because if that would have happened earlier in the year, and then they go on a 3 or 4 game run, then everybody's going, ooh, hold on. Maybe that wasn't as bad. Maybe South Carolina wasn't really bad. It just sucks it happened so late for us. It really does.
Well, here's kind of the conversation overall. Obviously, I think most Tennessee fans are going to feel like that's a little bit of an injustice, but it also is what it is. But here is the real talk in terms of what might happen to Tennessee. So, more or less, Sugar Bowl goes to the highest ranked SEC team that isn't in the playoff. Horrifically, Alabama could still make the playoff if USC loses next week and kill me.
Well, but we'll talk about that in a second. I got random scenarios.
The Orange Bowl is the next one, I believe. And it would I feel like that's the most likely outcome is that second spot, not the Sugar Bowl, just because Alabama's out there as that outlier. And in that spot, Clemson might have played themselves out of that at this point. I'm gonna real quick about that. I'm gonna contradict myself a little bit now, in the sense of when they're looking at Sugar Bowl versus Orange Bowl, they actually may look at head-to-head at that point. You know what I'm saying? But just for pure rankings, we have no chance. Yeah.
So that I don't know. And you know what they're going to look at? Whose fans are more geographically located to New Orleans versus Miami? Who could travel and get the most money? I hate to say it. It's probably they care about money. They don't care about the teams.
They do.
Which team's going to travel well? Well, the positive is Tennessee, Alabama, they're both going to travel well. So I think that might play into it. But if they're, like I said, I hope we go Sugar because of Dome. That's going to help us because now we can't, meaning we, cannot say anything about weather conditions for Milton so we can get a true judge for next year. That's why I want to play in the Dome. Truly.
I like Carson here. He says, come on with it. Charlie with another pull on the old whiskey.
Just
conversation.
That never happened. Just nice and quiet. Put it back.
This conversation just makes me feel that. It's a pull on a whiskey bottle conversation.
Yeah.
Because
like I said, that's the only reason why I think I would like Sugar is so now after the bowl game, when the clock hits 0 and we get on the show, we can talk about truly what do I really think about Milton at that point? Because now there's no weather condition that can affect anything.
Yeah. I want to see that.
That's the whole reason why I want to go to the Sugar Bowl.
And I want to see Heupel go just balls to the wall, like anything and everything with Joe Milton, like throwing it all out there. Jalen Hyatt's final game, like all assuming he goes to the league.
But he would be dumb if he doesn't.
Yeah. Like I want to see that against a great team where you have a chance to beat a Clemson or whatever. Well, call them a great team. I don't know if they're a great team, but like you get a chance against a big brand. That's why when people were like, "Oh, well, Tennessee's going to fall to the Cotton." Shoot me. The Cotton Bowl, that's going to be against Cincinnati. That's going to be against Tulane. No. I don't. That's the last thing I would ever want because you lose that game, it's terrible. You win that game, it's meaningless. If you go to the Sugar Bowl and you play whoever Kansas State, that's a solid win. And
hold on now. Hear me out, though. Hear me out. Is it a solid win against a 4-loss Kansas State, though? Because if they're in that game, it means they've lost the Big 12 championship game, and there's a 4-loss team.
Maybe. Yeah. Well,
I'll take it back. I mean, it's still a solid win, but the matchups I want to see personally, I don't want to see Alabama, and I don't want to see Ohio State in the playoffs. Selfish reasons. Just don't want it to happen. But I'd love to see them play each other in the Orange or the Sugar Bowl. Right? I would. Because if they don't go to the playoff, they're going there. They're going to one of the two. So I would love to see that matchup, which then, as long as Clemson can beat North Carolina next week, legitimately might let us match up with Clemson in either the sugar or the orange, which really helps us defensively.
I mean, it's just this. Seeing Alabama rewarded for losing less bad than Tennessee. That makes me.
Hold on, I did. It broke up. It broke. All I heard was seeing Alabama rewarded, and then it broke up.
Sorry. Yeah, I can see. I can see that my connection's not great. But seeing Alabama rewarded for having less bad losses, just ugh.
I mean, but that's I'm with you. But that's it. All I'm saying is, when you're going with the rankings, dude, I'm with you. Trust me. It hurts me to say it. That's where we have to take a step back from being a fan and understand when it comes to the rankings, they look at that stuff. It sucks. Totally with you, right? Because Alabama, their other losses are teams that we beat the hell out of, LSU.
I know,
right? But it just
by 30.
But you know what I mean. But here, remember what I said after that LSU game on this show? I said LSU was atrocious. LSU was garbage. LSU wasn't any good. They started playing really well after that game. I even said LSU did not deserve to be ranked in the top 25 at that point. They didn't. And then next thing you know, they're number 5. So when we played them, they weren't as good, or in my mind, and we beat the hell out of them, which we should have. We imposed our will early, and we said we're better than you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's what you're supposed to do. So it's one of those that the hard part is it's hard to say. It's like every year, it's like, okay, hey, hypothetically, Team A plays Team B. Will Team C beat Team A, which now means Team C should beat Team B? Well, they still got to play. See what I'm saying? Well, that's the hard part about rankings. Once again, I'm with you. But when you're doing the rankings, we got to take a step back from being the fan, which is very hard to do. Trust me, I'm very Tennessee biased, obviously. It sucks because I don't want to see Alabama rewarded either, but they're going to be in the New Year's Six or the playoff, depending on what happens next week.
Here's what I have to say to that. Where Alabama gets the benefit of the doubt because they lost less bad than us. This is what I have to say to that.
Yeah.
I have to say,
I'm with you. Because what year was it? Was it 14? I could be wrong. Ohio State lost to Penn State. Penn State plays the Big 12 or Big 10 championship game. Penn State loses to Wisconsin. Ohio State makes it to the playoff.
It is what it is.
That's what I'm getting at. If you want my true opinion, I think it's stupid. I think it's I got to use nice words. We'll just call it stupid. That like Michigan's AD is on the committee. Why? You're an active athletic director and you're on the committee. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I don't agree with how the committee is set up is what I'm getting at. You have active ADs and people that are active, legitimate fans and or boosters of these teams, and you're going to sit here and tell me that if you're Michigan's AD, you're going to vote for Ohio State to get in? Hell no, you're not. You know, like that's the stuff I don't agree with that.
I'm simply hoping. So you have number 5, number 8, number 9 all lost. Tennessee will probably fall at number 6. That's going to be my guess.
Nope.
You don't think they'll fall at number 6?
You think we're going to jump to 6?
USC. Oh, sorry, it would be number 7. Number 7. Sorry, I forgot about Ohio State.
Yeah, it'll be USC, Bama, or Ohio State at 5. Bama or Ohio State at 6. They're going to flip flop. You don't think there's any possibility at all if they hop Ohio State? No. I don't. Not this week. No, I don't. Depending on what happens next week, possibly, but not this week. No.
Yeah. So number 7. I'll say number 7.
I'm thinking 7, but then again, whoever that guy was that you said his name was, he had freaking Kansas State at 7, and I never would have thought a 3-loss team would be up there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I don't think that's how to play out, but then again, I have no idea. I know a lot of people were sitting here saying Ohio State's going to be 4, and I was like, that they can't go to 4 because USC won tonight.
Well, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do, and here what we might do, because it might be like good cross promotion here. Maybe we'll have you on with me and Zach this week or next to talk about the playoff rankings. Like after the playoff rankings come out, maybe
I get heated. Oh God, because some of the things I go,
yeah.
What are you like? The committee's so stupid, like But I see a comment real quick that says, "Ask what teams I would want in, not who I think will get in." That's a good question. Obviously, I don't like Ohio State, so they're out. Don't want Bama, you're gone. You know what I mean? I don't want TCU because I think they're going to get annihilated whoever they play first game. So if the teams I would like to see, I would really want to see. Obviously, Georgia's in, Michigan's in. There's nothing I can do about it whether I want them or not. They're in. I would like to see Michigan match up with a very high-powered spread team, right, that can just move the ball wherever they want to move it, a.k.a. us.
Yeah, Tennessee.
No, I think
that would be nice, wouldn't it?
No, once again, I think it's a great matchup for Tennessee because now number 1 defense versus number 1 offense, not so great pass offense versus not so great pass defense. It's why I like the Clemson matchup for us. So I would like to see Georgia, Michigan, us, and USC because I think USC's offense can play with Georgia. I just don't think they can stop Georgia defensively.
No.
And then that would give us a Tennessee-Georgia rematch, but it's not going to happen, obviously. That was a want versus reality.
Well, maybe we'll have to do that. Like I said, this week or next, we can get you on with me and Reagan, and we'll have it out about what happens with the playoff rankings after the conference games. I don't know. We'll have to see. And it's good promotion.
That's going to be interesting. Next week will be very interesting to see because, the only team, the 5 conference championship games, right? But the only ones that really have implication, SEC doesn't really, Big Ten doesn't really, in my opinion, keyword opinion, because I think regardless, Georgia, Michigan are in. Big 12 and the Pac-12, ACC doesn't mean anything.
No.
Except for Clemson, maybe Clemson getting into New Year's Six, but that's about it. It means
I want that. I want Clemson. I want to.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it means nothing for the playoff. So, honestly, no, I don't. Outside of random Clemson fans and UNC fans, nobody's gonna watch that game.
No.
And by the way, side note, it's funny as hell. Go on StubHub or Ticketmaster and look at the random ACC championship game tickets versus SEC. Slightly comical. It's disrespectful comical. You can get tickets to the ACC championship game for $35. Nobody goes to this thing.
Nobody cares.
So the only games that mean anything next week are the TCU game and the USC game. So next weekend's kind of boring in the sense of the playoff. 2 games, the only thing that really mean anything. That's why we got to go to freaking 12 because then they actually mean stuff.
I know. Well, we can limit that all we want. I'll throw it to you here. We're well over an hour now. Any final thoughts about 56-0 at 10-2 season? Everything. Yeah, and anything before we bounce that you wanna get across to the good folks. And like I said, let's get on with Reagan too on our weekly show and have some extra time and we'll talk some more stuff out about the playoff and stuff. But here with the post-game show, this is the last game of the season. Anything else you want to say to the good folks at home?
Well, one, thanks everybody for watching all year long because, agree and disagree and whatever. Man, this show's fun. Nothing is ever personal. That's the fun part because we can always – I saw a comment earlier real quick that said they understand my side of the view of from the player and coaching perspective, we got to let it go quickly. But from the fan, you got to let it out. I get it, man. Trust me. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm just always going to be the optimistic person when it comes to this sport because of what I've done in the sport. Let it out. I'm with you. I'm here to let you vent. That's what we can do. I can help you. I can help you talk. I'll talk you down. We'll say that. or at least I'll try to. But thanks everybody for watching. 10-2. It still is upsetting to me at 10-2 because I predict 11-1. I just wanted to be right.
You did.
That was more of a pride thing for myself. I just wanted to be right at 11-1. So thanks, South Carolina. Right. But no, seriously, guys, this has been fun. I just 10-2 in year 2.
Man.
Like, I know I predicted 11-1. But it's still so great to feel like, hey, man, we've done something we haven't done in almost 2 decades.
Double-digit wins on a season.
That's what I'm saying. Like that in a regular season, double-digit wins in almost 2 decades. Like it's tremendous.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. And only in year 2 with a coach that wants to be there. That's the difference. He wants to be in Knoxville. With an AD that wants to be in Knoxville. It's a whole different vibe now. So I'm stupidly excited for the future of this program. Very interested to see what happens over the next couple of weeks, because then we're going to get to really dive into the bowl game and all that stuff, and that's going to be fun. All right. But this team's fun to watch. Thank you for everybody for listening to our rants, or the good, the bad, the ugly, right? We wouldn't be here without you guys. The comments are awesome. I really wish Jeff was here right now, but he's not.
Dude, Big Ten Jeff wussing out because his team took a big fat L today. That's disappointing. I'm not going to lie.
And I'm slightly upset at Jeff. Jeff, you're still my guy. You're still my guy, though, Jeff.
He's come in here and talked big smack all season, and then his team gets their head beat in today, and he is out of here. That's sad. So
here's one last question to end the regular season. Just because I want to do it. Hypothetically, well, because it's going to happen in about a little over 6-7 weeks or whatever. Where are we ranked next preseason right off the bat? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Needs to be top 10.
Well, what number? What do you think?
Like
Truly.
9.
I think 9?
I think they'll be like, well, we'll have to see about this Milton kid. You know,
I honestly, because Bryce Young leaves.
Yep.
He gone. Gibbs, the running back, he gone. Right. Ohio State's quarterback. Well, Harrison Jr. can't leave, but still, he's a freak. And I do see where it says depends on bowl game, but I'm gonna say 5. I really am. I'm gonna say we're 5. Because this is where I go back to it. I can contradict myself all day long when it comes to football. This is where I go back to, and they're going to go look at their whole year. Look at everything.
Yeah.
That South Carolina game was a fluke. That South Carolina game was a fluke. Because if we don't lose South Carolina, we're number 3 this week. See what I'm doing? No, but what I'm saying is that's what they're gonna think of. Yeah. That's why I think we get 5. I do.
I hope so.
It would be tremendous. Think about it. Like,
I'll say that. Yeah, year over year, get better, and it depends on what happens in the bowl game too. Like some folks are saying.
It does. Now, if we go blow somebody out of the bowl game, hell, we might be ranked number 2.
Yeah, I mean if they beat Clemson by like 20 in a bowl game, like
I'm not gonna lie. If we, dude, I'm telling you, if we get Clemson, you will never see me so excited. One, because I grew up in Clemson County, I just want us to beat the hell out of them. I don't like Dabo. I don't like that he thinks higher than God. I don't like that he tries to talk about, man, you go flip some burgers there, bud. You just got your ass beat by South Carolina too.
I would be so happy if that happened.
Oh, it would be so great. And the media would have fun because of his comments last week.
Yes. I want it to happen. But here, I'll wrap it up with this. We're going to do something for the bowl game. Last year, you and me did an entire game live stream.
Yeah.
Maybe
dude,
that'll be
some crazy.
Yeah, if you want to see me suffer during a game, you can go back and watch that live stream. That was horrendous. But I will say the same as you, Crump. This was unbelievable. This show, and then the main podcast has gotten bigger than I probably ever thought it would be. Not that I don't have confidence in myself, but just like It's been incredible. Everybody that tunes in, all the regular listeners, everybody that has said so many kind words all season long. It's been incredible. And here's what I'll say to everybody that's commented on the whiskey during this whole show. This one's for you, folks. This one,
and get the next one for me.
And this one is for you. This one is for Crompton. This one is for a 10-2 season. This is cheers to everybody who was involved in this entire production. The guys at A to Z, Austin, Zach Bingham and Zach Reagan, everybody who was involved in this whole production. This one's for you. Thank you for tuning in. You guys are too amazing. This isn't. We'll still have a sign off, but this cheers in general. Cheers to all you guys. You're too good to us. Thank you so much. Here's a pull for you for our amazing sponsor, Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey. Look, I'm still a company man. Go Vols!
I can tell you this. Comment of the night real quick. You ready? Us and Clemson, the Flippin' Burgers Bowl.
That needs to happen. At this point,
that is the comment of the night. That takes the cake. That is unreal.
It has to happen.
I'm telling you, if we get that matchup, it's all public knowledge. It's all public knowledge. Somebody's got to get a T-shirt of Flippin' Burgers and send it to Clemson's facility. Attention, Dabo. You know what I mean? Like just random, like nothing else but just like somebody flipping a burger. And just mail it to Clemson's facility.
Please. God. Well, hopefully that happens. And as I said, maybe we can get you on with me and Zach.
Yeah.
And have it out over the playoff and everything. Carson says finish the bottle out. If I did that, I'm not gonna lie. I had a couple of drinks before we even got on here. That would be a problem if I finished that bottle. So
that'd be awesome.
Apologies there. But that's it. I'm Charlie Burris. That is former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton. It is past midnight at this point on the East Coast where me and Cromp both live. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. It's seriously, it's been such a special year. This has been so great. I cannot say thank you enough to everybody that has watched the show, and thank you enough to Crompton, man. You've been incredible all year. It's been too good. And I'll just give you one more just for the folks at home if you got anything to say.
Well, like I said earlier, guys, it's been fun. I appreciate everything, all the comments. It's fun interacting with everybody. If we missed stuff, like as far as comments or whatever, we genuinely are sorry for that because they come in so quickly because we have so many people watching and enjoying the show. But thank you again. We couldn't do this without you. It's tremendous. Looking forward to the bowl game with whatever we're going to end up doing. Charlie, thank you for being such a good co-host and getting things rolling and doing all the sponsor reads and everything and kind of leading us in everything. Man, it's tremendously fun. And the last thing I want to say is somebody asked if I could say it. Yeah. My sign off is we're 10-2 and go Vols.
Go Vols, baby. That's it. Charlie Burris, former Vols quarterback, Jonathan Crompton. Thank you to everybody for watching. We cannot appreciate it enough. And with that all said, we will talk to y'all, I guess, at the bowl game. Well, tune in. Yeah. Just keep an eye out on A to Z Sports, on everything, on all of the social medias on A to Z Sports, and we'll announce everything that we're doing for the bowl game because it's going to be good. I mean, a 10-2 season with the bowl game, it's going to be good. Yeah. So tune in there, and we will talk to all of y'all then.
Thanks, guys.